So, welcome everybody to another episode of Prop House Profiles here on the Noun Square. We are joined today by Psychdre. Psychdre, the Prop House Prince. And we're going to find out why he's called that. How are you doing, Dre?
I'm doing wonderful. It's a beautiful day here in Florida. I'm outside. It's lovely and
Looks like a very sunny, beautiful day there in Florida. You're like in the sunny, like tropical area, and I look like I'm in a hole. I'm just crawling out of my hole here to interview Psychdre. So let's rewind right back, and I just want to first start with your background. Like, where do you come from? What was your training in, and what do you love to do?
yeah, absolutely. I at the heart I'm a filmmaker. I literally went to film school and that was absolutely awesome. I studied in New York, ended up working in New York and then living in New York. But my background is essentially video editing and animation. Once I kind of really honed in my skills, I dipped into the world of NFTs and crypto art. So for me, my background, it's my strongest point. It's what I know how to do best, how to edit stuff, how to put stuff together, how to create awesome visuals. And then I'm very lucky to be in an environment where I can put those skills to good use, I think.
Awesome. So you said that you started out with your filmmaking and ended up in NFTs. How did that jump happen? How did you get into crypto?
Yeah, it's a good question. There's a guy you might know. His name is Beeple, a small time
Heard-
artist.
I've heard of him. Yeah.
that Beeple's huge sale is what drew me in. I'll be honest. I think we're talking like March 2021, and
Yeah.
that amount of money, I think it just I was like, what's going on here? I have to understand what's going on. I used to work with Rolling Stones and Vogue and GQ. There's a self fulfillment, that feeling, that sense that NFTs give you financial, artistic freedom. It's incredible, and nothing on earth really can match it.
Okay. So tell us now about your nounish story. How did you first hear about nouns? Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. I was with nouns since day one. And what I mean by that is that I had known about nouns, and that's purely because of 4156. I mean, I've been following him for months. I'd known about his CryptoPunk, and I didn't pay any attention to nouns because I didn't understand it. Lo and behold, 1 year later, I was actually intrigued by what was going on, and I decided to hop back into the Discord. I think I'd left and learn more about what nouns are, what they can provide, and how to be a part of this amazing, amazing community.
So, when you did decide to dip back in to check out nouns, where did you go first? How did you take your first steps into the ecosystem?
I learned about Prop House and just confusion. I didn't know anything about, discourse. I didn't know anything about grants, but I knew that I wanted, my interest was piqued. So I think when it comes to NFTs, when it comes to noun research, plays a very important part of what you do. And I'm very glad
Yeah.
that I was able to just do a little bit of research and see what was going on and see how I could join the community.
Okay. So, when you say you found out about Prop House and there was confusion, what do you mean by that? You just weren't sure how to take advantage of it, or how to apply, or what was the confusion?
I think just the concept is what confused me the most. We're talking about an idea of putting props and getting funding and connecting MetaMask. It was just confusing to me. Now, I know Prop House like the back of my hand, but I mean, we're talking round one of nouns, and I didn't know anything. So I was like, do I need a noun? Do I need to be a part of nouns? I didn't know anything. So
This is good feedback to hear because there's so many people like you that are going to be in that exact same spot where they drop into the Discord cold and they're like, okay, what's what? So, if I'm not mistaken, you actually started your Prop House journey through Little Nouns. Is that right?
yeah, absolutely. I was intimidated by the big nouns, by the real nouns, let's call them, and then I love the little nouns. I love the idea of nouns but small. I think I was, I thought to myself, let me start out here, and it's a wonderful journey to have started with the little nouns prop house, and then we're talking like getting approved on the actual nouns Discord. So it's quite a journey, and I would encourage everybody who's a builder, to be a part of it. Really,
Tell us about some of your early prop house props that you made on Little Nouns Prop House.
I think the first round that I did for Prop House, I submitted 5 props, and I think it was like Twitter Spaces and this and that and the other, everything in the kitchen sink. The first round of Prop House I won was actually for my 3D animated video. I was instantly hooked. I said, this is a fantastic place for builders to be able to build something within the Nouns ecosystem.
Where did you get the nickname, the Prop House Prince? Where did that come from?
I just kept submitting because I kept coming up with these ideas, whether it's 3D deliverables, whether it's metaverse stuff, whether it's physicals. I have some of my awards here that I'm printing out in 3D. This is actually the first time anybody's seen it, Tony. This is an exclusive to you and everybody watching. Look at this. Absolutely awesome. The Little Nouns
So
Award.
a little story there is me and Al from Little Nouns decided to do a Little Academy Awards during the Nouniversary spaces that we did on the Noun Square. And as part of that, we did this award show where we had people nominate and vote for their favorites in different categories within Lils. And I drew the pixel version of what you just saw there on the screen, the little trophy. And then within a day, we had motion design had done a 3D rendering, and then Dre here was like, "I'm going to make them for real," and so did a prop for it because he's the prop house prince. And I
You
guess we're
like
seeing
me.
the
You
first
really,
physical.
really like me.
You're not even sure where you got the moniker, the Prop House Prince, but it just came from the reputation that you started to build by not only proposing all the time, but executing on those proposals. And people are like, okay, this guy is serious about Prop House. And when he puts a prop in, he gets it done, and we get cool shit for the DAO. So and that's why people vote for you, right?
Prop House and the Prop House King and stuff. I think it's just the ability to continue to deliver, to continue to come up with concepts and to deliver on those concepts. I'm really happy with what I've built, and I'm really happy for what's coming. I really enjoy Prop House. I think it's a fantastic, fantastic way to build, really. I'm glad Prop House is able to kind of help those people that have strong ideas to shine and to come through. It's unlike anything I've seen before in the space, really.
Wanted to ask you, what's your favorite thing about Prop House?
When it comes to Prop House, my favorite thing, also my least favorite thing, and that's the final kind of moments before that Prop House round closes. I've been in plenty situations where I've said, I'm in, I've won, here we go. And then next thing you know, I end up in last place and no funding. And then there's been situations where I've said, I'm out, there's no way I'm going to win. Next thing you know, I end up in first, second, or even third place. It's crazy. The the thrill that comes with it, it's an election after all. But I'd say that's my favorite and least favorite thing about Prop House. The rush that you get.
Favorite when you win, not so much when you don't, eh? The only difference between Prop House winners and politicians is that Prop House winners get shit done.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad. Thank you to everyone who's ever voted for me. It means more than you can imagine. I really appreciate it. Thank you. The combination between all the houses, like even Uma, I think I've won like countless rounds. It's just it's fun. It's fun. It's a fun environment. Really, every win has been filled with stress, emotion, and just a lot of building goes into it. So every win really has a special place in my heart, in my mind, in my workspace because it means a lot. Really.
So you showed us the physicals that you just made. Those are pretty cool. So those aside, because we've already seen those, what's your favorite prop that you've put in and that you've been able to work on?
I'm gonna split that between my first prop and my last prop. The first prop, that 3D animated video, and then my last prop, which was Nouns Latam and what we're building there. That's the first time I've won with nouns, and winning with nouns, it's very special. It really is. The nouns community is the strongest. It's the one that's most robust, and winning with them really it meant a lot to me.
So tell us about Nouns Latam. This was a proposal that you won in the last round of Launchpad. What's that about, and what are you guys working on?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Latino. I'm Peruvian, just so you're aware. And I think when it comes to the Latin American space within nouns, I kind of wanted to see something that was very strong and different and out there. So myself and Angelique Steve, we created Nouns Latam, and now we have a space for Latin American builders, creators, artists to be a part of nouns.
I said that all the time. Like for every demographic that you can find within North America to spread nouns to, I mean, you can just spread it to all the demographics that are already interested in nouns here, but just in Latin America, in Korea, in Japan, in Africa, which is happening and is awesome. But it's just kind of a no-brainer. It's like, well, yeah, there's a bunch of people that like listening to Twitter Spaces every day in North America about nouns. Well, obviously, there's going to be probably even more people in Latin America who will be interested because there's just more people.
We've heard all these Twitter spaces, and we've had so many people who knew nothing about nouns being extremely interested in just learning more about the ecosystem.
That's
It's
cool. So when people come to your spaces, which you're holding almost every day, I believe, what is it like if they when they come in they don't know about nouns? Like what are their questions that they ask you, and how's that onboarding process going?
m- my number one favorite question in the world is what is a noun? Because I'm like, oh my God, I have so much to tell you. In Nouns of Time, we're trying to talk to people who don't know nouns and build new artists. We're about to head over to Colombia. Secure our vendors, we've secured the merch. It looks unbelievable. Have a lot of digital media coming up as well. I think what we're trying to do here in Nouns of Time is to just produce an entire package that the nouns community can really be proud of.
Yeah, there's been such a huge movement in Latin America recently with the amigos in Mexico, and then you guys in Latin America, and of course now it's down Brazil as well. So it's really cool to see that whole subcontinent just being like mobilized for nouns all at the same time.
Absolutely. It's like a galvanization of all of these people. Everything's in English. Everything, Discord and Twitter, all of these things, they're barriers, whether it's language barriers or information barriers. Our job really is to help people overcome those barriers so they themselves can judge whether they like the environment, and if they do like it they can push forward and learn and grow and be a part of it. I think that's what we're about. I literally will not give up until all of South America, all of Central America, and even some parts of North America are fully involved in crypto when it comes to Latinos.
Yeah, what would be your biggest piece of advice, your best piece of advice for anyone looking to do a proposal on Prop House?
My biggest advice to anybody who's looking to be a part of Prop House would be to find your niche. And what I mean by that is that if you know that you're very good at doing this one thing, whether it's, crochet or physicals or painting or animations or writing or whatever it is, I would say you head deeper in that direction. That to me is the thing that is most attractive about Prop House. Now, after that, of course, it involves things like posting your Prop House on the Discord and getting a couple of opinions, maybe posting on Twitter, really getting a little bit of attention to your prop. But I would say the more unique, the more niche, the more individual you can make your prop, the one thing you say, I'm very good at doing this thing and nobody else can do it. I think that's the direction that you should head when it comes to Prop House. It's what worked for me, and it's the advice I would give to other folks, really.